Hey, so I just finished reviewing the latest inventory and housing supply data from Resi Club Analytics and Realtor.com. And quite frankly, uh, the information I looked at was shocking. I had to check it 2 or 3 times to make sure it was correct. So that's what I'm going to share today is some of the latest housing market data from Realtor.com, because what we're seeing in the supply of inventory, new listings, and certainly days on market was surprising, and I'm sure it will surprise you as well. So for the longest time now, the Midwest, the Northeast, particularly over the last few months, has been basically impermeable. Is that a word? Invincible. Has been invincible to the softening of prices, the kind of the glut of supply, and the fact that homes, for the most part in the United States, have been lingering on the market a lot longer than they were last year and the year before, and certainly a lot longer than in 2023 or 2022. So a lot of the U.S., like out west and places like Phoenix, certainly like Austin, places in the Southeast, like in Florida, have seen a big problem with a lot more supply, lower demand, and longer days on market. Homes are taking a lot longer. However, the Midwest has basically kind of just said, yeah, no thanks, I'm going to keep going. And the same with the Northeast. I mean, the Northeast has been a very tight market. Same with the Midwest. And for those that don't know, my name is Jason Ferrier. I am the housing nerd. Thanks for joining me today on the live. We're going to talk about the inventory supply situation with the housing market. So I'm just going to dive right into some of these top lists. So what I did was I looked at the top 100 markets in the U.S. and I'm going to start with new listings. So these are the homes that have just hit the market, how many, new listings we got. This is data for for March of 2025. And this is month over month. So this is looking at March of 2025 versus February of 2025. And some of this, again, it shocked me. All right. So number one on the list, where has inventory? Well, first off, inventory has grown. New listings has grown 23%, not inventory. New listings has grown 23% in March versus February of this year. So month over month, we had an increase of 23% in new listings hitting the street. That's not abnormal. Like the fact that we have more new listings, not a big deal, because it's spring and that, you put more homes on the market in the spring. You expect to see that. Now, honestly, like over the past few years, we haven't seen a lot of new inventory in the spring, but we're starting to see that change. Number one metro, Spokane, Washington. Now I looked at just the top 100 metros. That's, to narrow it down for data's sake. Spokane, Washington, up 65% in new listings month over month. Number two, Worcester, Massachusetts. A very, very tight market, up 64% in new listings. Rochester, New York, number three spot of the top 100 metros in the U.S., up 63% year over year. I'm sorry, month over month. I apologize. 63% month over month. Boston, Massachusetts, number four, up 53% in new listings month over month. Portland, Maine, spot number five, up 51%. Now, I decided to do just the top five, but number six caught my eye. Number six, Washington, D.C., up 49% month over month in new listings. So those are your top metros when it comes to homes hitting the market. But comment below and tell me what you think. Do you think does that surprise you? Surprise me. I mean, there's not one Southeast city in the top list, in the top five. Like you would think you'd see something from Texas, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, maybe Tennessee, maybe Arizona, right? If I had to guess, like if I was going to bet, I would If I was a betting man, I would probably put my money on like Vegas, Phoenix, right? I wouldn't put it on Boston. I wouldn't do that. But that's what we saw. All right, I got a comment here that's really funny. Ghost. Boston stuff needs to be said with a Boston accent. Yeah, that's awesome. I have a very bad Boston accent. Probably I'm not even going to try. My mom actually was born in Boston, and so I grew up with her saying, what would she say that was yeah, she always said lobster, right? That's the best Boston accent I can muster. Lobster. But maybe I'll practice my accent. Thanks, Ghost. That's funny. That made my day. Made me think of my mom. Thank you. All right, so that's where inventory is growing. Is we're adding the most new listings, all out west. Or I'm sorry, all out east. I'm speechless. I can't even talk this morning because of these numbers. And Spokane, Washington is the only metro west of the Mississippi that's in the top new listing areas. I just couldn't believe that. All right, now let's look at year over year. Where have they grown year over year in new listings? This is different, but there are a few surprises on here. There are. Number one, Denver, Colorado, up 33% year over year. By the way, nationally, we're up 10% in new listings year over year. If you compare March 24 to March 2025, up 10%. Denver, Colorado, up 33% year over year. San Jose, California, up 33%. Spokane, Washington, they made the list of new listings. They make the list of new listings year over year and month over month. Spokane, Washington, up 33%. Portland, Maine, there's Portland, Maine again on the list. 32% year over year increase. So it wasn't just 1 month. Like Portland, Maine right now has 32% more new listings year over year. Richmond, Virginia, 27% increase. And number 6, Washington, D.C. So now Washington, D.C. has popped up twice now with new listings. It tells me maybe there's some pain there from job loss. Maybe, right? People getting nervous, maybe putting their home on the market. I don't know. All right, so those are new listings. Now let's look at active listings. This is active inventory, not new listings. 83 of the top 100 markets went up in active listings month over month. Meaning if you look February 25 to March 25 with active homes on the market, 83 of the top 100 metros went up. And overall in the United States, we're up 5% month over month. San Jose, in active listings in 1 month, went up 41%. San Francisco, 27%. Washington, D.C., 25%. Denver, Colorado, 21%. And coming in at the 5th spot, Boston, Massachusetts, up 20%. That was really surprising. Like, to see Boston on this list tells me that the supply of homes for sale is growing in most areas of the U.S., even in the tight markets. It looks like it's starting to grow. Now, keep in mind, in the East, like in Boston, in Rochester, Portland, Maine, those areas, and a lot of other areas of the U.S., we had horrible inventory numbers for the past few years, in the Northeast. So an increase of 20% isn't like, oh my gosh, there's houses on every corner. But it's an increase. And if you make the top 5, well, you're definitely seeing some changes there. Okay, so that was active inventory month over month. Now we're looking at active inventory year over year. We're comparing March of 25 to March of 24. So year over year, not just month over month. Year over year, 97 of the top 100 metros in the U.S. saw an increase in inventory year over year. Basically all of them. Up 28% year over year total inventory. Number 1 on the list, Stockton, California. Number 2, San Jose, California. Number 3, Las Vegas. Those 3 markets don't surprise me. Like that, I would think that's where we're going to see more inventory. Denver, number 4. Seeing a lot of pain in Denver right now with inventory. A lot more inventory in Denver. Number 5, San Diego. And I had to put number 6 down. Washington, D.C. again. Really surprisingly. I mean, I just, so Washington, D.C. is up 64% in inventory. Oh, shoot, I didn't read the percentages. Stockton, California, up 69%. San Jose, number 2, up 68%. Las Vegas, up 68%. Denver, up 67%. San Diego, up 67%. And Washington, D.C., up 64%. So there's no doubt that inventory is growing and growing fast in some of these metros. I mean, look at Washington, D.C. They were up 97, they were up 64% year over year in active inventory. They were up 25% in month over month active inventory. They were up 25% in year over year new listings. And they were up 49% in month over month new listings. So like, if you're in the DC market, well, if you're a seller in the DC market, you better know these numbers. You better know them. And you better price your home accordingly, right? Got to price your home accordingly. You better know your competition out there if you're going to list your home. If you're a buyer, there's probably some opportunity to make disrespectful offers, right? Probably, I would think. Hey, my dude. So 5 days ago, the 10-year futures dropped to 3.99. Now they're up to 4.14 on the market currently. Looks like it'll close green and higher. I'm thinking that this will affect mortgage. What's up, Liam? How you doing, man? Yeah, I mean, it's definitely affecting the mortgage rates. Like when I saw, I think it got down to like 6.55 on Friday on Mortgage News Daily, but then it lost some ground and now it's like 6.60 when I looked this morning on Mortgage News Daily. And yeah, I saw the 10-year go up this morning. So I would imagine that mortgage rates will probably go up somewhat. But yeah, the rates matter. They definitely matter. What's that magic mortgage rate though? Like the magic mortgage rate where people will choose to buy a more expensive home, or where a buyer ignores a high price because a rate's low? I don't know what that number is. You know, it could be in the low 5s maybe. I don't know. It's hard to tell. By the way, Liam, thank you for that super chat last week. That really meant a lot. And we enjoyed a local pizza here. My family enjoyed it, and I did not take credit for that pizza. I told them that it was a super chat from a viewer, a subscriber. So thank you, Liam. I really appreciate that. That was really cool of you. All right, so let's there's more comments here, but I'll get your comments here in a second. There are more. Let's talk about days on market. That's next. See, this is how I do it. I got all my stats right here. See that? If you can't, if you're not me, you're not gonna be able to read that. And even sometimes I can't read it. So I got paper on paper on paper here. All right, days on market. So days on market is how long a home sits on the market before it goes into contract, right? That's what they call it, days on market. And it's kind of a good gauge because it tells you how long homes are sitting. If homes sit longer, there's probably more of a chance that you can probably get a deal if you're looking at homes in that category, in that price range. If homes are sitting longer in a neighborhood, you can probably get a better deal than if homes are moving in 2 or 3 days, right? So days on market, month over month. This is a little of a wrinkle. Down 20% nationally. 94 of the top 100 metros dropped month over month in days on market. So why is that? Well, probably because we're entering spring, right? So as you enter spring, more people are going to buy homes. Homes sell faster, obviously. However, I also think it's because of delisted homes. I think it's because there's a lot of inventory that's been removed from the market. I'm seeing it here in Central Ohio. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing homes that are being yanked from the market because they're not selling. And so the sellers are like, I'm just going to take it off the market for now and try again when rates are lower or demand's higher. So I think that affects the days on market because if you're taking homes off the market, they're not sitting there. And then the homes that are fresh are, if they sell in a reasonable amount of time, it brings that days on market down month over month. That's just my theory, though. But let's look at where homes are sitting on the market longer month over month. Again, there's only six metros where that went up, not down. Omaha, Nebraska, 11% longer days on market month over month. Los Angeles, California, up 8%. San Diego, up 6%. Stockton, California, up 5%. And San Francisco, up 3%. So California's got 4 of the top 5 metros month over month with longer days on market. But if you're in one of these markets, Omaha, Los Angeles, San Diego, Stockton, or San Fran, you've got to see days on market exploding if they made the list and 94 other metros went down, right? But this next stat is probably more important. Days on market year over year. So how many, if you look at March 2024, March 2025, up 6% nationally. So if you compare those two, you compare March to March, basically the US is up 6% in time on market for homes overall. 80 of the top 100 metros were up year over year in days on market. So in majority of the top metros in the US, you're seeing homes sit longer. There's a city in this list, by the way, that was really shocking. And it was probably the more shocking stat I saw all day long after reviewing this for a couple hours. Rochester, New York is number 1, though. 65% longer days on market year over year. So if you have a home, I mean, that basically means that in the Rochester market, homes are taking right now 65% longer to sell than they did this time last year. 65% longer. Nashville, Tennessee, number 2. 47% increase in days on market. Jackson, Mississippi takes the 3rd spot with 35% longer on market. Buffalo, New York, 29% longer days on market. Omaha, Nebraska, they made that list year over year and month over month. 28% longer days on market. And coming in at the number 6 spot, I had to do the 6th one, even though I was trying to stick to 5, but I saw number 6 and thought, shoot, got to mention this. Columbus, Ohio, 28% longer days on market versus this time last year. And as a realtor and an investor here locally in Columbus and Central Ohio, I can tell you this is exactly what I'm seeing. I'm seeing homes rot on the market. Rot. Like, there are homes that move fast within days. That does happen. But I'm also seeing homes that are taking a lot longer to sell here locally that would normally move a lot faster. And it's not because like you're not getting offers. It's not like you're getting tons of offers, they're just low. You're not getting just the traffic. Like I'd love to see the stats for Columbus as far as showing time and buyer traffic going into showings. But I talked to other agents and they're seeing the same thing. I don't see a lot of chatter about this on social media locally, probably because agents are like, I don't want to mention that. It's like taboo to tell both sides of the coin, I guess. But I'm seeing it. I'm seeing homes sit longer, and their homes, in the lower price ranges too, even sometimes, are sitting longer. Now, if they're priced right, though, they are moving. If they're like lower priced homes, but they're in good condition, those are moving. But overall, homes are definitely sitting longer. There's no doubt. So 28% longer in Columbus. That was a surprise to me. Anyway, you've got essentially homes sitting longer. You've got more new listings in a lot of markets year over year, most all of them. You've got active listings up in most of the major metros across the U.S. year over year. It just means that there's this spring buying season or selling season, whatever you want to call it, it's shaping up to be dismal unless rates drop enough. How much do they have to drop? I don't know. Do they have to get to the 5s? Maybe. If they had a 4 handle on them, would people run back into the market? possibly. But if you're out there buying right now, you should certainly take your time, do your homework, and make disrespectful offers. Not going to go to jail for making a low offer. All right, let's check some of these comments and see what's up. Liam, you said rates. I'm thinking higher 10-year affects buyers. Yeah, higher 10-year definitely affects buyers. There's no doubt, but it has dropped over the last month or so, right? Few weeks. So now you're lower. Your rates are lower. Your mortgage rates are now in the mid sixes approximately versus over 7. So that half a point isn't everything, but it's a small win if you're a buyer. What's up, Trucker 202? That's cool. Are you a truck driver? That'd be awesome if you are. Thanks for watching. Yeah, so you're saying high fives, Trucker? Is that what you're saying? Like, hey, high fives would unlock demand? Maybe. Maybe that's what you're seeing. Maybe that's what you're saying. But thanks for joining us, Trucker. Colorado has insane real estate prices. 125 million up here in the Aspen Dale area and 100K for a used trailer in a trailer park. The overvaluation scam is up here. I've heard that Colorado condos are like exploding, the amount of inventory for Colorado condos, especially in like the resorts. I've heard that. So like you're saying, and I'm guessing even if the prices drop in like Vail and Aspen, they're still not priced in a reasonable way. That's what it sounds like you're saying. Interesting. So Colorado, yeah, you made the list. Like, where are you on here? Let's see. Colorado, where are you? Yeah, you're on the list of active month over month increases in inventory up 21%. And you're also up year over year. Denver's up 67%. So a lot more inventory in Denver. Denver looks like it could be like the new Austin when it comes to home price decline coming up. Where are these stats from, Trucker? Yeah, I got them from Resi Club Analytics. That's where I pulled this from. So, and they use realtor.com data. So Resi Club Analytics, the link's in the description below, but Resi Club is I guess you want to call them an analytic company and a real estate, a housing market information newsletter that is put out like every other day. And you can go to their website and subscribe to their newsletter for free. They also have a paid subscription. And if you pay on the subscription, it's like $99 a year. Then you can download all their data. And so they provide that once a month. And they use realtor.com's raw data for inventory. They use Zillow data for pricing. So Resi Club basically takes all this raw information from realtor.com and Zillow and then analyzes it and kind of tells you what's going on. And for the nerds like me, they publish a database that you can go into and kind of slice and dice it. So that's where it comes from. But thanks for asking. Zillow keeps track of removals and relistings, which means sellers cannot hide listing history from buyers in 2025. Was that a question or a statement? Yeah, you're right, Ghost. Yeah, they do. Like if you look, you have to be crafty, but if you look on Zillow, you can see down at the listing history where people have taken a home off the market and then relisted it as a new listing, right? That's like an old real estate trick. Like I'll take my home off the market if I'm not getting the love, and then I'll cancel the listing. Then I'll relist the home, sometimes with a new realtor, sometimes not, and then put a new price on it. Sometimes they put a new price, sometimes they don't, and it's a new listing. Excuse me. So then it hits the market as a new listing, and people get excited about it, I guess, or supposed to anyway. But as a seller, there's not too many levers to pull. If your home's not selling, like you can drop the price. And I'm trying to think of another lever to pull. You can offer an incentive, but that's really dropping the price. As a seller, there's not a whole lot of things you can do to create offers except drop the price. Advertising, you know, unless it's an off-market property. If it's an off-market property, the more networking an agent does, obviously they're going to sell the property faster. But an on-market property where Zillow, Realtor.com, MLS, you know, Redfin all see the property, not going to do anything else except lower the price. That's really the only card you had to play. So just know that when you're looking for a home, like if you go look for a home or an investment deal and you're like, oh, this house has been on the market for a long time. The only card they have is to either take it off the market and relist it, which doesn't do anything, or lower the price. But yeah, you can see that on Zillow. New, cheaper construction by large builder conglomerates, Ball Homes in Kentucky, for example, are now also building homes designated as rentals from day one within brand new neighborhoods. Why? So they're probably building, well, they are, I mean, yeah, this is a trend, has been for a while, called build to rent. Basically like, hey, I'm going, instead of building these houses to sell them, I can build them to actually rent them. Now, not knowing the exact situation from the builder, I can tell you the first advantage that comes to mind for me, if I was a builder, is that the passive income you get as a rental is taxed far differently than a sale would be. So if I sell a $500,000 home, that's probably wouldn't cash flow. So if I sell a $300,000 home, and let's say I'm a builder and I get 100, or I make $100,000 on it, that $100,000 profit is usually taxed more than if I just put it on the market and rented it every month and made like a 20% profit on the rental. So if I rented it at $2,000 a month and I made $500 a month on all my rentals, that they call that passive income. Oftentimes that is taxed differently than selling the home. So that could be one reason. The other reason is they could just see the fact that people can't afford homes to buy in the area. And then they look at how much it costs to buy a home in the area that they build. And then they look at the cost. And then they look at the demographic and say, can people actually afford these prices? And if the cost to rent one of their new homes monthly is at or lower than the buy price monthly for the demographic, then it could make more sense to do build for rent rather than build for sale. Just because if locally you can't afford to buy that same home, the rent may be better. And as a builder, if you have favorable financing, lower interest rates, or the math just works better to rent it out, that's why they're doing that. And because honestly, like demand is growing for rentals, we all know that, right? Especially single family house rentals. Most people want to be in a single family house rental rather than an apartment. Most people, I think. Maybe not everybody, probably not everybody. So the demand for single family rentals, good single family rentals, overall, I think is high still. And so if they can build something people want, they will. Hope that answers the question. Probably a long-winded answer, but what else we got? Anything else? We got 23 people on. Hit the like button if you're on, even though I can't tell if you did because I'm on StreamYard. But if you did, I appreciate it. Thank you. Let me see if I have anything else on my list here. Yeah, so I guess real quick, just to reiterate, if you're people always ask me this, so I thought I'd bring it up. Buyer, seller, or investor, what does all this data mean today? And I already kind of hit on it, but you should definitely watch days on market locally, meaning how long homes are taking to sell. So you can get that. You can manually calculate it with Zillow, not very effective. You could go to like, you could certainly go to, from a county level, you could go to Resi Club Analytics. They have that type of data broken out by county level. But if you want like a micro area, then you should get with a local realtor who can help you with that data and ask them for days on market for the specific zip code, school district, subdivision, whatever that you want to buy in, and also ask them and make sure you're telling them what price category you want to buy in. So don't look at days on market for homes that are $1 million if you're buying a $250,000 house, right? Obviously. So look at the type of asset, make sure you're looking at the type of house you want to buy, in other words, and look at the price category and ask them for days on market and ask them to send that to you. You know, depends on what your timeline is, but if it's a year you want to buy, if you're like, I think in a year I want to buy a house, have them start sending that to you once a month. And then once a month, look at it. And they'll also ask them for the trend over the last few years. And they'll send that data to you. It should be easy. If they can't send this to you, find a new realtor, by the way. Find a new realtor if they can't give this info to you. Very easy to get. So days on market. Then I would also tell them to pull what the inventory is. How many homes are listed on the market right now? How many are selling each month? And how many new listings are you averaging each month for that type of home in that area? Have them pull that data and send it to you once a month. And historically, go back a few years and look at it and look at the trend. Maybe even go back before COVID, because that can kind of give you a litmus test, maybe more accurate than just looking at COVID, because COVID numbers were crazy. But in any case, go back and look at the trend and study it. If you look at that every month, every other week, however you want to look at it, you will start to see a trend emerge. And if the days on market are exploding, if inventory is going up, if new listings are going up, and demand isn't catching up with it, and you're seeing homes sit longer, could be a signal you could get a deal. If on the other hand, you're seeing the opposite happen in whatever market you're looking in, the chances of you getting a deal are slim. So that's what I would do if I was a buyer. As an investor, I would do the exact same thing. Just depends on what type of asset. If you want like a multifamily or whatever, do the same thing. And then as a seller, also do this exercise, but then you probably want to have an honest conversation with a realtor when you get to that stage about the pricing, and don't get greedy. Don't price your home higher than your neighbors who got the home accepted last year at $5,000 over asking. Don't do that. Look at what's happening right now. Realize the health of the market, the speed of the market, and then price your home accordingly. So it's really the same stats you want to review as a investor, buyer, or seller. Very similar stats. And then be honest with yourself if you're a seller. Be honest. Don't overprice your home. This isn't 6 months ago, so you can't price your home as such. Anyway, that's some just hopefully helpful advice. Let me see here. Thanks from Ireland. Moving to the U.S. Philly later this year, and your content has been so informative. David Kane. Awesome. Well, welcome to the U.S., David. That's great. Moving to Philadelphia. Congratulations. Good. And I'm glad the information helps. And I'm glad you joined us this morning, or this afternoon, I guess. Thanks. I've been using Grok. It has NGL. What's this? I don't know. It has not access to the MLS, but it pulls info from everywhere. Oh, you're talking about AI. Not gonna lie. I guess that's what that means. Yeah, be real careful with those AI things asking for real estate data, because I find a lot of errors. But it's not awful to get you started. Not awful. Just double check the data. I find a lot of errors with. I usually use ChatGPT for most research things, and I find a lot of error in their data. A lot of errors in their data, rather. Resi Club Analytics is the source. Resi Club Analytics is the information gatherer, and they analyze the data. The actual data source is Realtor.com and Zillow. So Resi Club uses Realtor.com for inventory, Zillow data for pricing data. So you can do one of two things. You can either go to Realtor.com and actually download the raw data yourself into spreadsheets, but then you have to manipulate it and everything. Or you can subscribe to Resi Club Analytics, ResiClubAnalytics.com, and then they have a membership that I think is $99 a year. You can do it monthly, or you can do it yearly, and then you get more information you ever want to know. So then once a month, Lance, who runs Resi Club, will send an email to you that has a link, and you can download the Google spreadsheet. Here, I could probably show you what it looks like. Hang on one second. I wasn't going to do this, but if you want to see it, I'll show it to you. These always take a lot longer than I think they will. Okay. Yeah, I'll show you what it looks like, so it's not so mysterious. Share screen, April. So this is like, for instance, right now what I'm looking at is the April update from Resi Club Analytics, and this is their and they have it in Google Sheets, which makes it really nice, right? So yeah, like these are the active listings, and if I go to month over month over here, for active listings, it tells me the top. It tells me, who's on top as far as active inventory goes. And then if I look at new listings is here, and then days on market is here. And then at the bottom, I don't know if you can see this or not, but at the bottom they have a county level data. So if I click this, it actually shows me all the counties in the US. This first tab, these are the metros. This is the county level data. And then they have all the raw data at the bottom. So there's more info than you never want to know. And then they show you the 6-year change, the 5-year change, the 4-year change. I mean, again, more info than most people need, but it's very helpful if you want to understand some of what's happening in the market behind the headlines, and behind like a lot of, admittedly, a lot of YouTubers and realtors will just paste in data that they find from other people. But this is kind of the ground level type stuff. Anyway, that's what I use. Hopefully that helps. Oh, yeah, Grok. Yeah, aggregates information from tons of places. Yeah, I think it does. I think they do. Not going to lie. Yep, saw that. Grok is Twitter. I believe so. Yeah, I believe Grok is the Twitter thing. I believe. Okay. So hopefully that helped out today. Yeah, big changes, more inventory, more new listings, longer days on market, all that good stuff. And I appreciate you joining me this afternoon. I'm the Housing Nerd, and I'll catch you on the next video. I'm out. Have a good day.